Hi there, it's Catherine, your lawyer friend and guide, and this is the #1 podcast for legal careers in Japan. Thanks for stopping by the Lawyer on Air podcast. Today's guest has one of the most fascinating career philosophies I have heard in a long time. She believes every career is built on edges. Edges like a law degree, a difficult first job, an unexpected opportunity, a qualification that nobody else thinks is particularly useful. On their own, some might think they don't seem to amount to much, but over time, if you keep collecting those edges, they become something extraordinary. My guest is Sachiko Ichikawa. She is a lawyer at Tanabe and Partners, a director of the BDTI Board Directors Training Institute, and an independent director at Asbil, Olympus, and Tokyo Electron. She did not set out to become one of Japan's leading voices in corporate governance, but after a series of edges, she found herself working on one of Japan's most significant corporate scandals, helping shape the future of corporate governance education and eventually serving as an independent director herself. You'll hear why you should use your edge, even if it seems small, and how watching both outstanding and ineffective directors teaches you what great governance looks like. And my absolute favorite moment comes at the end of our conversation when I ask Sachiko to describe her career as a metaphor. Her answer? Well, you'll have to keep listening to find out. And I have a feeling her description will stay with you long after this episode finishes. Let's get into it. Hello, Sachiko, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Catherine. Good morning.
Oh, what a lovely, nice voice you've got. I'm hearing sounds like radio voice. Well, I'd love to start with our warm-up question.
Okay.
Imagine we are meeting up in person. Where are we and what beverage are you ordering from the menu?
Oh, I like this question.
Good.
Why don't we take a one-day trip from
Oh,
Tokyo
oh,
to Odawara,
yes.
and we will meet at the cafeteria of Enoura Observatory.
Oh,
And in front of us, there is a beautiful ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and we can sip a glass of orange juice.
wow.
And Enoura Observatory is one of my favorite museum. It's an open-air contemporary art museum. And you can feel the astronomy, Japanese history, and art. It's a magical place.
Lovely.
So, yeah, why don't we meet at the cafe and sip orange juice?
Nice. Because Odawara is so famous for its castle. But I'm so
Right.
glad you've chosen a different place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quick to get to Odawara from Tokyo, isn't it? Tokyo Central. It's not that far on the train.
Probably by train, 2 hours,
Yeah,
I
not
guess.
too far.
Not
Yeah.
too far.
Wow. And they have other things apart from orange juice. They have all kinds of things on the menu, like soda and, tonic and tea and coffee and all kinds of things, I suppose.
Right. I remember the cookies or pound cakes of orange,
Oh,
made of orange.
yeah.
Um,
Now we're talking.
what else?
Yeah, the pound cake, orange pound cake is lovely. Yeah, thank you so much. I look forward to that. Let's try and do that at some point.
Right.
Maybe not in the hot summer, or maybe actually that's the time to go.
Yeah, maybe I visited there in every season, and I liked it in each season.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you
mhm.
so much. Well, before we get started into the questions, I want to start with a happy note because I want to congratulate you on receiving the Business Lawyers Award 2025 in the governance field. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
How did
Thank
it
you.
feel to receive that recognition for something you've been building over so many years?
I feel terrific. When I heard the news, I was surprised and felt so honored because somebody paid attention to the activity of BDTI.
Yeah.
And the receiving this award is not just me, but BDTI.
Yeah.
It's not my individual work, but BDTI's contribution to the society, the companies, Japanese companies, and corporate governance. So I feel very honored and humbled
Mm.
and really appreciative.
Yes. I think it's a group activity, but also it's personal. What did it mean to you personally as Sachiko? What did it mean?
I felt the recognition is great because, you know, the BDTI is a small organization, nonprofit organization, and its activity is not so visible all over the world. And I contributed for a long time, and finally, we were recognized and I just happy for me, myself, and for BDTI.
How's it been to motivate you now after several months from that time?
Right, receiving the award reminded me of the importance of corporate governance training again, and I re motivated to promote more,
Mm.
providing courses more. And I am now developing new materials. And BDDI uses a lot of case studies, and I am a developer of these courses. So I have been devoted myself to develop new case studies, and it just revitalized my motivation to promote the courses and eventually corporate governance.
Yeah, revitalized. I love that. And you've used some lovely words there like magical, and it was terrific, and it's revitalized your motivation. It's really interesting, as you said, that these awards recognize the work that started many years ago and someone saw it. But let's go back to that beginning because I don't know the answer to this question, which is why I'm asking you, is what attracted you to law in the first place?
It didn't actually.
Okay, tell me more.
I graduated from the university with law degree.
Hmm.
However, I joined the bank,
Bank,
the Daiichi Kangyo Bank, DKB. It's now Mizuho Bank. I
right.
joined the bank. However, it didn't work out for me, the job at bank, because it was long, long time ago, and there is no women empowerment then. So they had me wear uniforms and had me prepare a cup of tea to the clients.
Ah,
And I hated that
yeah,
job.
yeah.
No, I didn't hate that job, not much, but it rattles me. It
Mm,
rattles my feeling.
mm,
And I was asking myself, is it worthwhile? And can you do this? Can you keep doing this for a long time? It's not anything to do with my skill or job. It's just paying my dues in the
mm.
big organization. And if you join the big organization, you first have to pay your dues. And this idea, I didn't like it. So I quit the bank and started to prepare bar exam and then pass the bar exam and register myself as a lawyer. So I abandoned law degree once, and then I picked up once again. That is the relationship between law and me.
Excellent. I wonder though, if you had not gone to the bank and you didn't have that kind of experience, do you think you may not have done law straight away? So, in fact, like turning it round, that going to the bank and not having a good experience was like a force to make you feel more linked back to the law and becoming a lawyer.
Right. It may be a good, meaningful experience for me,
Hmm.
joining the bank and failed it. It's a good thing, I guess. Look back from now, it's a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking about, yeah, failed it. I mean, I think the bank failed you, actually,
Right.
right? And they say, I remember seeing something, I think it was Ariana Huffington said, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success,
I like it. I like
right?
it a lot.
That's
Yes.
it. And I think it's part of it. The serving tea and wearing the uniform
Mm-hmm.
and being in their structure. And I'm probably sure there are some other, maybe men who had law degrees who are working in the bank who probably weren't serving tea. That's my guess.
No.
But having that experience really does drive you, I think, to do something different. Did governance come to your mind then? Is it too early at that stage? Or is there some feeling about governance of the bank or maybe of yourself even at that time?
No, no,
No?
no,
Mm,
back then, there was no such a word as corporate governance. Nobody talked about corporate governance, and I had no idea what the corporate governance is.
right.
So that is why life is full of surprise, and sometimes it fails you. However, it's not the end of the life, and you will find another thing that delights your interest. So
Mm,
my life has a lot of twist.
yeah. Let's talk about that because some of the interesting angles you've got is that you graduated Tokyo University or University of Tokyo, I think it can be called both. And then you later studied at Georgetown in the US and you qualified not only in Japan as a lawyer, but also New York. And you also became a CPA in the US. You could have really stopped being a lawyer and started being a chartered accountant, right? An accountant. But you kept staying with the law. So tell us about that whole period of you having your twists there and what kept you coming back to the law as well as doing that adjacent field of accounting.
Mm. This experience at bank, that is defining experience for me.
Mm,
And I learned three lessons. Number
yeah.
one, life is not perfect for you. It disappoints you sometimes and it abandons you. However, you have to pick yourself up and fight back. That's the number one lesson for me. And the second one is use your edge, even if it seems small, because it's what you have got. In my case, law degree. At that time, law degree didn't seem so powerful. You
Mm,
have to prepare for a bar exam with a lot of effort. So law degree didn't mean much. However, it was my edge, small edge, but still a edge. So I used it, picked up the law, and prepare for the bar exam. So use your edge is the lesson number two for me. And the third one is I wonder what other edges can I get? A small edge may help you. So create some edges when you can, while you can. Take every opportunity to learn something, pick up skills along the way. That's the third lessons for me. So I took advantage of each opportunity to learn something. That is why I attained law registration in the United States, the certified public accountant certificate. I collected some edges. That's
Mm,
my lessons.
amazing. What great lessons you've shared with us. I'm wondering, did anyone at the bank recognize that you had a law degree and said, do something with it? Did anyone think about you?
Yeah, they can imagine I will quit the job because paying my dues is not easy. So she will quit soon and go back to the law degree. It's Catherine. It's not a good question.
No. Paying my dues is just so making you feel obligated, right? In this giddy and gammon, right? To
Right.
put up with it and to be obliged to them, and you're paying your dues to society, to whatever. But I was curious if someone noticed, but the fact is that you noticed yourself. You noticed that you had an edge in law, and then you found the other edges. And that's incredible because now looking back on almost 3 decades, I think you've had in law, aside from that leaving the bank, are there any other decisions that have really shaped your career?
Of course, BDTI.
Yes.
The CEO of BDTI, made a huge influence to my career.
Yes.
And it is not my decision. It's just another happy, unexpected event of my life. Just before I came back from the United States to Tokyo, Livedoor case happened,
Right.
and the CEO of Livedoor was arrested, and many litigations were filed by the investors. It's security fraud cases, and CEO of the BDTI, Nick Banish, and I met in this turmoil. Nick Banish was brought to the board of Livedoor as an independent director, and in order to oversee the litigations. And I was one of the lawyers who acted for Livedoor and handled these securities fraud cases. So this is a life-changing event. Until then, I was an employment law lawyer, and I was working for the human resource management division of companies. So I had no idea about security fraud case. And actually, Livedoor case was the very first case in Japan in terms of newly introduced Security Exchange Act. And this newly introduced article made security fraud cases easier for plaintiffs. It means very harsh on the issuer company like Livedoor. And I handled these cases, and I found it very interesting and, of course, tough, however, interesting. And
Well, it created another edge for you, didn't it?
yes, it did.
this is the key incident that sparked your interest in governance. Is that right?
Yes, it was. During the cases, I mean the Livedoor cases, there was no BDTI. And Nick Benes and I made a very good team, and we made friends each other,
Mm.
and we share the view of corporate governance and responsibilities of the board. And Nick Benesh established BDTI, and I joined as a founding member. And this relationship has been keeping until now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone knows that background, so I really thank you for sharing it. We know that Nick set up BDTI and that you've been part of it, but I didn't really realize how much of a team you are from the very beginning, and that was the trigger to really put the fuel on the fire for you both to get this organization going that now helps thousands of people learn more about their roles as an outside director, outside auditor, and the things that they should be and should not be doing. So I think that's very interesting that you shared that. I think people sometimes have careers that are built through really big major decisions, but it sounds like your relationship there working on this case was more natural, that you decided to jointly do something about it. And I think sometimes you speak, Sachiko, about small events and unexpected opportunities as your philosophy. Is this the kind of situation where your philosophy started to develop? Can you tell me more about that?
Okay, the first experience is the bank, right? And the second biggest change of my life is Livedoor.
Right.
And again, while handling the security fraud cases, I learned a lot about accounting standards.
Mm.
It's all about accounting figures on the books. So, beginning was a live door case, and I handled other cases of security fraud. And in total, more than 10 years, I was swamped with the accounting standards,
Mm.
accounting argument, and evidence about accounting. And one day it dawned to me, if you use this moment to learn new skill, which is accounting, it would be very interesting, for the lack of the better word. So I started to study accounting seriously. Handling cases is one thing. However, studying accounting standards for CPA is totally different thing. But yet, I am good at learning. So I started preparing for CPA exam, and it took me a long time. At last, I passed the CPA exam and registered myself as a CPA.
I see.
So again, this is my lesson. I mean, I learned the lesson at the bank incident
Yes.
and applied my lesson to the accounting. That's my
Yes.
story.
There you go. And if you hadn't had the bank lesson, that could have been different outcome.
Right, right. Yeah,
Do
you
you
are
think
right.
about that? Do you think about how, the bank at the time maybe, and you're doing what you had to do to give back, you were told, but now it's actually been a significant stepping stone along your path to do what you're doing now. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Reflecting.
Mm, yeah, you are right. It was a precious experience, I guess.
Many lawyers can't do accounting, so you're brilliant. I'll just say that. But let's talk about BDTI, the Board of Directors Training Institute, because in 2009 you got involved there, I think it was. And it was still, obviously, it was very niche to be doing corporate governance education in Japan. Was it Livedoor that convinced you it was important? Or was it the combination of that and speaking with Nick, having someone who was also aligned with you on something has to be done? We can't let this happen again. We've got to teach people how to be better outside directors or better inside on the board. Is this where it's coming from?
Yes, yes, it does. The security fraud case is failure of the board. The board has to oversee the legitimacy of the company's books and accounting, and it failed big in Livedoor case. The board couldn't stop CEO's ego and let the book corrupt it. So the security fraud cases realized me how important the board is, and only the board can stop security fraud. So I realized it through handling the cases and, of course, talking with Nick Banish. He was one of the members of the board of Livedoor just
Yes.
after the incident, but he was working hard to secure the property of Livedoor and protect remaining shareholders of Livedoor then. So we share the view security fraud case is a big loss for shareholders, companies, and society itself.
That case was 2000 and
2006.
2006. What did the governance landscape of Japan look like then? We've got this case that's holding the nation on the TV every night because I remember seeing that and seeing that the CEO and hearing about him going eventually into prison and then coming out and having a new life as a phoenix rising from the ashes somehow to do another career. I mean, he served his time, I suppose. But aside from that case, what else was happening in Japan's governance landscape right then?
Do you remember the Murakami Fund
Yes.
back then?
Hmm.
So, corporate governance, shareholder value is secondary, and the management is the most precious, most important part of the organization. People thought that way. And the management is the owner of the company, and the shareholder is just a greedy bunch of people who attacks the management. That is the way people see the organization,
That's how it
I think.
was. So things have changed, haven't they?
Yes, yes, it changed.
It's
But
flipped.
it's not changed. Some part it's
Changed
not
but not
changed.
changed. So did you imagine that BDTI would train thousands of people?
No, I didn't expect that because I didn't know much about corporate governance. Of course, I understood it is important, but it's not peripheral idea back then. So I thought it could be small initiative, and it's a precious initiative. However, it's not impactful activity like running an orphanage.
So you may not have thought it would be as impactful as doing something like that. Yes, I hear
You
you.
know,
So impacts, what have you been really proud of?
we provided training for more than 4,000 people And BDTI has now 4 courses. And thanks to Catherine, we have now a finance course. And we also have entry level course, advanced course, mid level course, and for English speaking people, BDTI has an English course, and the lecturer is a native speaker of English. So BDTI developed courses and offering them to broader audience. I am very happy about it.
Well, I think you've talked about edges, and sometimes our edge comes from the interests that we pursue, and you've talked about a few of those. And I think it's sometimes you pursue them before anyone else sees their value. So, you do the course, you set up the courses, you do the training, and you think it's only going to be small compared to an orphanage. But I think you've now gone bigger than that. So, has there been a moment for you in particular, personally, when you realized governance would be more than just simply an issue for you, but become part of your professional identity?
Hmm. You can remember the corporate governance code was introduced in 2015, and it changes a lot in corporate governance field. And I was appointed by one company as a independent director just after the corporate governance code was introduced. So I realized then, oh, this is a real career path for me and other lawyers to become an independent director of the company. And it means the BDTI has to be busier, and it is going to be a big movement. That's the moment I realized my career, my contribution, BDTI's purpose. Yes, that's corporate governance code.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you for that, because I was going to ask you when your first appointment was, but what was it like then when you were sitting in the boardroom? You had this realization it could be a career, but how about it from an independent director point of view? What was it like in that room?
First, I attended the meeting of board. I was so disoriented. I
Hmm.
didn't know what to do. I taught corporate governance in BDTI courses. However, I didn't know what to do for me to be a part of the board. However, I quickly learned a lot from my colleagues, independent directors. We were 5 of them, and the two were very good, very good. And they focused on the long-term value. They keep the big picture of the company, and they can handle the tense between the management, the board. At the end of the day, the board is composed of overseers and the overseen. So there is always some level of tense, but they are handling the tense very wisely. They are very kind, gentle, soft talking, and yet they question very sharp questions, and their comment is very to the point. However, the other two, they are not so great. Their questions and comments are very reactive, and they care too much about operation, and they couldn't handle the tense. So they spent a lot of airtime to applaud the management. And I saw the two groups. I call them A team and B team.
Mm.
And this starking contrast taught me very quickly what is good governance and what is bad governance. So I realized I felt very strong sense of duty, and at the same time, I felt very strongly I want to be one of the good guys. I want to be a member of a team. So it clicks very quickly, and I catched up.
Excellent. I want to be a member of the A team. You're lucky that you had A team and B team to compare
Right,
on your
right.
first role.
Mm-hmm. So it's
Yeah.
it, only A team couldn't taught me a lot. Only B team couldn't
Mm.
taught me a lot. But the starking contrast of two groups was a very good teacher for me.
Yeah. Learning from the A team and the B team.
Right.
Exactly. Was there something really rewarding during that time of the first role that you had? Because you subsequently received another role, I think, as well. But how about it? Was there some tough lesson, perhaps, but also something rewarding from that time, as well as what you've just mentioned, learning the differences between good and bad governance?
I think it is a very good question. And I think it is a very tough thing for independent directors to think about their performance. Back then, there was no board performance evaluation. So only the feedback is your barometer. And in principle, the reward for the independent director should be stock price, right? If
Mm,
your stock price goes up, you are doing a good job. However, we are working on the long-term value. So it's not that quick. If you do this, next day the stock price goes up or down. It's not like that. Corporate governance needs time. So it is not so easy to get rewarded as a outside director. So you have to find your own version of reward. And in my case, it is a good feedback from A team, not B team, nor the management. It's the A team's good feedback was my reward.
that's amazing. Because really, when you say now, like the evaluation of boards, the self evaluation, it wasn't around in 2015, 16. So it's really only in the last at least 10 years, right? If not less, that this has come to be, that people can get a evaluation from 360 really from others. But you chose to get the value or to take the value from the A team as your reward. Very interesting. It's a great way to do it. Does that mean the B team's comments were maybe not valid, or was there some small amount of something in what they said, or just really you disregarded what they said? You chose to have that boundary.
Well, I always appreciate the feedback from any person or angle. However, evaluation varies based on the principle of each person, and each person has a different scale or a different standard of corporate governance.
Mm,
So, if somebody told me that I am not good as an independent director, but I wonder what is the standard or scale of the evaluator? I have to
mm,
wonder.
yes.
And if I think their scale is wrong, I wouldn't pay much attention to the feedback from them. That's it.
Well, I think that's a life lesson, isn't it? It's not only about evaluation as in this role, but everywhere along our life path, our career path, we'll get evaluations. But what is the evaluation standard? What is the standard of that person doing the evaluation? That's a really critical thing to keep in mind. Whether we
Right.
take it or we just thanks for the information but disregard it.
Mm-hmm. Because, the evaluation at the board level is different from the one in the workplace,
Yes.
usual workplace, because in a usual workplace, the reporting line is very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Your boss and you and your subordinates, the line is very straightforward and one way. However, at the board level, it's a teamwork job. There is no superior and there is no subordinates. We are colleagues. I am not taking any orders from them, and I cannot order anything to them. So it's a multi lines
Mm.
network, I guess. So you cannot compare the evaluation between the board performance evaluation and office performance evaluation, I guess.
Mm. How do you tackle those companies inside the companies that you work with in challenging issues? Is there times when you've had to speak some difficult truth and maybe you've had to put a judgment, like maybe ethical judgment, ahead of technical expertise as a lawyer or with your accounting lens on? So, looking at those difficult issues, how are you tackling them when they come up and finding the line that you're going to take, right? The difficult truth that you speak, or judging from an ethics point of view, perhaps. How do you do
Mm,
that? Because
mm,
people look at boards and think it's very elegant looking from the outside in, but often it's difficult. These things come up. I'm really interested to hear how you tackle them.
mm. The challenging the management is the number one job of the corporate governance. It's the name of the game. So
Mm,
you have to challenge the management. However, at the same time, you have to support the management because, in theory, the board chooses the CEO. So you have to support the CEO to flourish and make good result. So I am always wary of balancing the challenging and supporting, and the ratio of challenge and support varies based on the situation, the
mm,
company strategy, external competition, of course, stock price, CEO's strategies, and the board plan. However, always the outside directors have to challenge the management. And I always remember this is my job and I don't like tense at the board. However, this is your job. And if you keep your professional ethics upright, you have to do this. That's my philosophy.
what kind of governance trend are you closely watching right now?
Governance trend, yes, in a new corporate governance code, it's still in a draft stage, but I am sure there will be a company secretary idea.
Mm,
And company secretary will promote the quality of discussion at board level and promote the corporate governance level one notch up. That's the expectation of new corporate governance code. So I will be watching what the management does for company secretary, and
mm,
there are a lot for independent directors to support this initiative. We have to, put the items in a board evaluation process in terms of company secretary performance, and we has to put the article in a board charter in terms of the authority and independence of company secretary. So I will be paying attention to the company secretary and will support them as a supporter of independent directors.
Sure. Are they going to be people who are qualified as a lawyer, or are they going to be a corporate secretary qualification that people can get? What do you
That's a
imagine?
very good question,
Yeah, what do you
Catherine.
imagine? I know in the UK there is qualifications that you can get, same I think in Australia. But what do you think for Japan? Because sometimes Japan doesn't roll out a new initiative unless everything's perfect at the start. But is this something you think might be spoken about and then developed along the way? I wonder how that's going to go.
One part of me doubts a lot about the real performance of the company secretary because, you know, there is no prerequisite for company secretary. There is no
Hmm.
certificate, there is no qualification for being company secretary in Japan. At least corporate governance code doesn't say so. And I believe in UK, the Company Act itself stipulates the training or
Yes.
certificate of a company secretary.
Hmm.
And it is a prerequisite for appointing a company secretary. And usually in the United States and the UK, general counsel is the company secretary.
Right.
However, the new corporate governance code in Japan doesn't say much about the qualification, independence, the authority, anything. So I am very worried about it. So I decided to uh, pay attention to them and try to support them because it could be a booster or it could be just another toothless figure. However, we have to try and we have to support them. That's my attitude.
Sure. Wow, very interesting. Let's see how that unfolds. And then, of course, we can't deny that you are a female. I'm also a female. And you are a very prominent woman out there and being very visible, not only to directors and others, but younger generations and aspiring female directors. What questions do they often ask you? And what kind of advice do you often find yourself repeating to them?
Well, I am frequently invited by the female community of the company which I sit on the board of. And I like this opportunity to attend and hear what they have to
Mm.
say and talk about my career path because it is a very good window to see what is really going on in the company, especially HR management and company culture. So I wouldn't miss the opportunity to meet the female employees of the company and exchange questions. And frequent questions are about unconscious bias and their life event, career change, and how serious the company is about DEI.
Mm.
Those are the frequent questions asked to me. And I answered the company is really genuinely trying to promote female employees, and I am pushing hard inside the board. However, you are the owner of your career path. So don't let the company decide your career. You have to get the initiative and be the owner of your career path. And if, only if, you don't think your company can provide you with the good opportunity to promote yourself, please leave. I said so. And it's your life,
Mm,
it's your career. So don't be ruined by somebody else.
yeah.
It's your life.
Also, in the same way, a lot of people, generally speaking, rely on the supervisor or somebody in the company to be the person who forwards your career, whereas you can't really outsource your career, right? You can't be passive about it. And I think you're saying that you are the owner. You have that power and you've got to get the initiative and the power to do that and take it forward or do something else about it. I think that's great advice. They must really sit up straight when you're telling them this.
I don't know
Amazing.
if the company hears my comment and suggestion to leave the company, they would be upset.
They might, but maybe it's practical everywhere, isn't it? To anybody.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I am not ashamed of my comment
Oh,
because,
good on
yeah,
you.
I truly believed in, that you are the owner
Mm,
of the career path.
mm,
And, the company started to realize that they cannot give the perfect career path for each employees, and company itself started to suggest that it's two-way job, the company
mm,
and employee himself or herself, to decide what to do next
for
in your
sure.
career.
Yeah.
That's it is called the job-based transition,
Mm,
jobugata.
Jobugata. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, Sachiko, if you could go back and speak to yourself before you started your legal career, what would you say to that Sachiko? And also jumping forward to your future self, maybe 10 years from now, what would you say to you today, that Sachiko in the future? I love this question.
Oh, you do? I hate
Yeah.
it. I hate it.
Oh, I love it because it's kind of looking back and being like a mentor to your younger self, but stepping out from yourself. And then
Huh.
also later on, when you're a bit older and you look down to you now, what you'd like a grandmother or an older figure to say to you, yosh, yosh, it's okay, for example. But maybe that helps to feel a little different about it.
Well, to young myself, I would say don't worry too much about it. Nobody can predict future, so your decision is the best decision. And your life is not all your decision. You're not responsible of 100% of your life. The gods design for you, the destiny designs for you, and you do your part. You work hard, and it will be okay or not. I am not so sure. However, follow your instinct, follow your interest. What delights you? Who you are? What you are interested in? What make you come alive? You follow your instinct and it will be okay because I am okay now. So you will be okay. That's my message to my young myself.
Excellent. I love it.
And the grandmother figure, the older me,
Not that you're a grandmother in 10 years' time. I don't mean that. I mean, yeah, it helps to think about that older figure looking back at you.
I guess so far you did a good job, and I don't guarantee it will be okay. However, so far you have done a good job, so keep going that way. You will be fine.
Mm,
That would be the message from older me.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I love it. See, wasn't too bad. All right, and now to other people out there. Lots of people listening to Lawyer on Air are women who are, considering something new. Maybe a new role, moving overseas. Maybe they're going to be studying or thinking about future board roles, becoming a parent, whatever it might be. What would you say to someone who's thinking about that next edge? Because an edge is what you've been talking about a lot. If
Mhm.
they're on the edge of that major life transition or career transition, wondering if they're ready, what would you say to them?
Go for it.
Go for
You
it.
know, go for it. It's just focus on the interest of yours and forget about work-life balance or career success or winner or loser. Forget about all of them, and
Mm.
you just follow your instinct, interest, and it's just the alternative universe. If you take this course, you will get there and it will be fine. And if you take that course, you will get that place and you will be fine. It's just an alternative universe. So don't worry so much. It's already, your life is half decided already. So half of it, you have to make the most of it. That's my message to them.
Great. Thank you for that. Well, let's get into the quick fire round. I'd love to know what you think is your lawyer superpower.
Lawyer superpower is writing power and
Writing.
spotting the conflict of interest.
Oh,
That's our very good edge.
great. What's your boardroom superpower?
Asking questions ability, spotting the
Mm.
weak analysis, spotting the blind sight, and ask questions. That's the superpower at the board.
Yes. Great. Do you have a book or a podcast? Maybe it's about governance or something that every director or board member should read.
Yes, yes, I have a very good book for you
Tell me,
to
tell me, tell me.
learn
Now,
corporate governance in a real sense. The title of the book is Bows That Lead. The subtitle is When to Take Change, When to Partner, and When to Stay Out of the Way. This book is very good, and the board's job changes when the phase changes.
mm,
And I found this book very fascinating, and it's a very good read for all of the independent directors and candidate too.
who wrote that book?
I don't remember the author's name.
We'll find it. And if you weren't doing law, what do you think you would be doing?
Anything. Any,
Anything.
anything. I don't picture myself beside lawyer, but maybe
Mm,
I am good at reading and writing, so some kind of job related to writing and reading, I guess.
maybe
Some
writing and reading
writers.
and checking people's AI slop, making sure people talk about things in their authentic language. You could be a great editor of people who have gone down the wrong AI pathway. How about
Ah,
that? You'd be great at that. What's something about you that people would be surprised to hear that we don't know? Come on, surprise me.
That question I ignored, Catherine.
Oh,
I am an open book, so what you
oh.
see is what I am.
Okay. Well, that's a great answer. We know everything about you. Awesome. If you described your career as a metaphor, I love this question.
Mhm.
What would it be and
I
why?
prepared for it.
Thank
It's
you. I can hear your
mhm.
notes.
It's a good
She's
one.
skipping to her notes. Tell me what it is. I'm waiting to hear.
Okay. A leaf boat on the water.
Oh,
Fragile it may seem, but never sinks. How is that?
yeah. A leaf, like the leaf.
Leaf,
Yeah.
the leaf of the tree
The leaf of the tree on the water as a
on the
boat.
water. Fragile it may seem, but
Mm,
never sinks.
that's you,
Yes,
your
it's
career.
me. It's not the big tanker, it's big, the Titanic. I am not so successful. However, it never sinks.
Yeah, the
I
Titanic
am
was not so
surviving.
the Titanic was not so successful, was it? Wow, amazing. I've just found that book, The Boards That Lead. It's written
Uh-huh.
by three people, Ram Charan, Dennis Carey, and Michael Useem. I think we need the same book, but written by females. Maybe three of us can get together and write a book.
Right. Maybe so.
So, Sachiko, you've talked a lot about BDTI and the great work it's doing. How can we listeners here help BDTI?
It's a very good question. Please join the courses of BDTI, especially finance course, because finance is not a good suit for lawyers. So lawyers has to study for finance, and it is not easy to find a good course for independent directors. And BDTI's course is designed for outside independent directors. So please join the course of finance of
Fantastic.
BDTI.
That's great. And my request to you or to BDTI is please do that finance course just at least bit by bit in English as well.
Mm,
Then you would get, I think, a whole lot more members or people starting that course as well. So maybe not all in one, but bit by bit, some sections could be in English as well. It would be really exciting to do that.
I will talk about it
Thank
at
you.
the CEO of BDTI. But oh, by the way, Nick Benes was retired from CEO of BDTI, and new CEO came in. So I will talk about it with him.
Thank you. So that's it, Sachiko. You've survived. We've reached the end of the chat. Thank you so much for joining me on Lawyer on Air.
Thank you so much,
I loved
Catherine.
speaking
I
with you.
hated it.
You did not. I hated it. Listen to that, everybody. I hated it. Okay, I'm going to ask you after we finish. No, I'm going to ask you now. You really hated it?
Yes, I hated it.
Why did you
Uh,
hate it today?
you know,
You didn't want to
I,
talk about yourself.
I don't like it, and I don't like my English.
Your
I don't
English is
like my.
lovely. Your English is lovely. You almost sounded like you were really enjoying it, but is there one thing that you enjoyed? One
Okay.
thing, just one thing.
Well, your preparation, the questionnaire is very good, and I like your passion
Ah,
of this channel.
you
It's
turned it on me. You turned it to
mm-hmm,
make me the one that was the
mm-hmm,
thing
mm-hmm.
you liked.
I admire the people's great effort
Thank
and
you.
make things better. Yeah, I like it a lot. I love it.
I'm sure in the next week or so, you'll think, oh, it was not too bad actually. I
Okay.
might have enjoyed it actually. I'm going to wait for you to tell me when you've changed your mind, but maybe you don't. But I
Okay.
think everyone listening to this is going to really be very, very fascinated about what you had to say. If they want to get hold of you, can they contact you through LinkedIn? Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. And a message to my listeners out there, if you have listened to this episode and it's inspired you or it's given you something to think about it, I would love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Send us a voice or text review via our website because your feedback, yeah, we want our listeners to do this too because their feedback to us helps other listeners find this show and discover answers to questions they had about law, that they had about governance in Japan, but they didn't know where to find them until they listened to you, Sachiko. So that's all today. That's all for today, even. And I'll see you back here for the next episode. Cheers, kampai, and bye for now.